Welcome everybody. How you doing?
Hi.
I am gonna squeak in right here. Hi Doris.
Hi.
There we go. Awesome. Now. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay, good. And that's ready to go. All right. Can you grab my green drink on the side? Awesome. All right. Who's here to learn about the thyroid today? 4 of you. Okay, great. If you're here for something else, that's fine. But we're going to talk about thyroid. Okay. So this will help me to understand a little bit about where you guys are coming from. And let me take a step back first. I'm Dr. Tomasetti, so I'm for sure. But my vocal cords get tight from time to time. Robert Kennedy Jr., love him or hate him, we got the same vocal thing going on. Okay, so if you need to repeat something, just let me know. I want to make sure you get the information today. Is that fair? Yeah. Awesome. So, with that, I'm going to get my clicker too. Thank you so much. Who's been actually diagnosed with thyroid problems of some kind or another? Okay, most of you, and you're here supporting? Awesome, man. The support's key, right? Respect, big time. Yeah, how many of you need that are dealing with thyroid need a little support? Right? Yeah, that's a huge thing. So cool. That helps me know kind of how to tailor this for you guys today. So here's some things we get to play with. My body isn't fighting me back, so I can do the things I love to do. These are the part of the stories we get to be joining in with. So that's my hope for you guys to get a little bit of hope back. Is that all right? Awesome. Hey, welcome. So my family here, you're going to hear a little bit more about them in a minute, but I got 6 kiddos, and that's what keeps me busy when I'm not here. And I have an amazing wife who really, let's be honest, right? She's the one that keeps it going, running the show. Yeah.
Couple of kids there.
I'm sorry?
Couple of kids there.
We have 6 of them. Yeah, exactly. So my goal today is this, and it might seem kind of bold, but I want to show you natural ways to heal where you can see 50 to 100% improvement even where other systems have failed. Okay, who's thinking, yeah, right, be honest. Baloney, Doc, I don't believe you. I'm a little skeptical. Good. I welcome that. Okay? I'm going to show you some things today that hopefully are going to open your mind to a whole different way of taking care of your health. My job is to empower you to be able to take care of you and your loved ones. All right? Gone are the days of, oh, the doctor fixes everything. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's think a different way of taking care of things. Is that all right with you guys? Awesome. You're going to see then with our live demonstration today what this actually looks like, or at least a part of it. You get a little taste of that. So here we go. You're not alone. I know when you're dealing with thyroid challenges, you can feel really lonely sometimes, right? Even downright desperate. 20 million people are suffering with this, mostly ladies. And I'm just going to go out there and say it. I don't care about the gender stuff today. If you have a 2X chromosomes, right, you are a higher likelihood of having thyroid challenges. That's just how the bodies are made. So it's a myelin sheath thing. I won't go into all the details on that, but just that's part of the makeup. Ladies deal with it more than guys do. What are the traditional treatment options they've given you so far? Thyroid, yeah. Thyroid. Anybody other than Thyroid? Levothyroxine. Yep, that's the. Yep.
Generic.
Generic. Removal. Get it too. I am so sorry we couldn't get this information to you sooner.
That's what they were suggesting to me.
Really, yeah. Yeah, and that's the trajectory. Unfortunately, that is the standard path. A little bit of history. Drugs. They discovered Thyroid, levothyroxine, artificial thyroid hormone in the 70s. And thankfully, they were able to discover that. That's really supported a lot of people. And it has helped a lot of things, right? But it's not the answer to why the thyroid's having problems. But the road is basically prescription meds if your TSH is off. And then radiation, surgery, and symptom management is kind of that's what standard medicine has to offer. And if you're like me, you're going, those are pretty crappy options. We need something different, something better, right? This is 2025 already. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, right? You got thyroid challenges and you feel sad and blue and depressed, and then what do? Oh, here's your antidepressant, right? And you're like, no, it's not that, right? Yeah, like, so I get it. Frustrating, right? So, who started having their symptoms managed? You want a solution, like what's actually gonna make this better? Good, hopefully that's why you're here today. Okay. So, what happens then, right? You feel drained. You can't really sustain your busy schedule, let alone a standard schedule. Mood swings, irritability, feelings of overwhelm. Let's do this. If you've experienced one or more of these, we'll clap. And I do the clap because people in the front row can't see everybody back here. And I want you to, like, seriously, I want you to hear how many people are experiencing this with you. This is not, like, again, you're not alone in this. It's a big deal. But I've seen it and I've felt it personally. You stop showing up. You stop living or stop wanting to live. Sometimes it get really dark. Yeah. And then brain fog, right? Like, yikes. So I'm going to try to keep it a little energetic today. You can borrow a little bit of my energy so you can get some of yours back so we can get that brain fog. You know, if you need me to, again, you need to slow down, let me know. But let's see what we can do to show you the better way. Okay? Truth is, I never really wanted to be a thyroid expert. I never signed up to school and said, oh, I want to go and study that and help people with thyroid. Right? Has anybody else learned the hard way in School of Hard Knocks? Yeah, right? So we turn those experiences and then we learn from them and then we're able to then help other people with that. So let me show you a little bit of my story with this. Back to my family, 6 out of the 8 of us are overcoming low thyroid problems. My mom and sister have hyperthyroid or Hashimoto's. My wife's dad, pretty rare, but he has Hashimoto's autoimmune thyroid. Okay, so this has been part of our family for a long time. Our youngest, we adopted from China 6 years ago now, but she has Down syndrome, which is a known, right? A lot of that population has a lot of thyroid challenges. And so it's like, you better learn pretty quick, doc. All right, so, but I've been doing this a long time. My sister, she's 8 years younger than I am, and she had hyperthyroid, right? So literally her eyes are starting to bulge to the point where they had to do surgery to get her more skin in the eyelid so her eyes wouldn't dry out. And she went through several of these surgeries. So to see my sister come home and she's got bandages and like, what is going on? Right, so I've seen her misery firsthand. My wife with her own struggles and challenges. Hey, welcome. Glad you're here. Yeah. My mom having hyperthyroid. So I had to figure this out. Right? It's like you can't just let 2/3 of the family go down the toilet. or just throw on Thyroid and say good luck, right? So that's kind of my background in getting started with this. Now I've spent, I don't even know how many thousands of hours figuring this stuff out, flying around the country, studying with the best of the best, developing protocols at work. Naturally, the Thyroid just isn't cutting it, you know? And so now I get invited to speak here and there and get to do some consulting with other docs. That's been my background with this. I've been in practice 21 years now. So that's a little bit about me. Now, is it okay if I take your health paradigm and shake it up a little bit, give you a new lens to look through in terms of your health? All right, you guys ready? Here we go. This is as nerdy as we're going to get today, so just hang in there with me. Big picture. Everybody, I don't care who they are, they're trying to get your physiology to run right. Right? That's your hormones, your lab values, how your body's working. You with me? And then the way they're doing that, we've been sold the bill of better health through better chemistry. Right? So that's but it's not wrong. Chemistry runs the physiology. That's the governing layer there. But what runs the chemistry layer? And this is what no one's talking about. It's right there on the screen. What runs the physics? And so physics, it's like, well, that's weird. I failed that class in high school. I don't want to go back there. Right? So it's like, what do we mean by physics? Literally light. So sunlight, right, hits our skin, turns into vitamin what? D. Like that's becoming common knowledge now. Right? Light changes our wake-sleep cycles. Right? When the time change in the fall and the spring, and everybody gets bonkers for a couple days. Right? Yeah. So light changes things in our body. That's what I mean by physics. Electricity, the brain and nerves are electrical, right? Yeah. And so we need literally electrons to make energy for our body. And then magnets, meaning like the gravitational pull, the moon, right, the tide, all these things are electromagnetically, sun flares, all these kind of things are electromagnetic, not to mention the Earth's magnetic fields, right? So all of these things influence how our body functions on the physics layer that then drives the chemistry that makes the physiology work right.
And when there's a full moon, there's a problem.
What? Right? Yeah, things happen with full moons. Babies are born and
me for years.
crazy things happen. Yeah. So does that make sense on the physics? Like that sort of demystifies it. Very simply, light, magnets, and electricity. Okay. So the only thing I really want to take you away from this is here's how our body makes energy. We take oxygen. And we take $1 oxygen dollar and we spend that, and we get 34 energy dollars back. Who likes that exchange? 1 to 34, right? All day long. If that system breaks down for various reasons, now we burn sugar and we get 2. So thankfully there's a backup system, but who likes 34 instead of 2? Right? So if you're running over here for various reasons, and there's about 6 different reasons I can break down, but if you can't run the optimal system, now you have an energy debt. Are you with me? Mm-hmm. So if we're running an energy debt, and you had 1 cell that made 34, and now it's making 2, how many more cells do you need? That's the only math we're doing today. Okay? How many more cells do you need to make up that difference? Right, yeah, you need another 16, 17 cells to double to get you the same amount of energy, right? So the first step in any disease process is enlargement of the tissue. All right, so you're going to actually enlarge and make more cells so you can manufacture more energy. So they call that initially what? Enlarged thyroid. It's not a problem. We'll watch and wait. Your TSH is fine. You don't have any problems.
My TSH was fine for the age woman I was.
Oh, yes. Yeah. That's the other thing, too, right? The age bracket piece. So does that make sense? You enlarge it first because you need to make more energy for that tissue to run right. Okay? So think of it like a battery. And literally every cell in your body, trillions of cells in your body, are actually miniature batteries. They're charged. So think about your cell phone. When you got full battery, how many apps can you run? Too many. Exactly, right? You can run them all. It doesn't matter. You're fine. The first thing, so in other words, if your cell has full charge, you can literally fix whatever you need to in your body. Not a big deal, right? Bring it on. When you start to lose energy in the battery, that's the first stage is that heteroplasmy. You have to make room for mutations. You can't fix every problem. Quality control starts to go down, and you have to make new cells, but you can't regulate all the different functions. It's like, well, we got to put that cell out even though it's not perfect. We need the cell to make energy. You got to replace this old broken one. Does that make sense? So now we're running down here, and that's when the cells start to enlarge. So we're running an energy debt. Can't fix everything. And now all of a sudden we're making more cells to create more energy to keep the system running. Now even further drain happens, and that's what we call autoimmune disease. Okay, so we've hired all these new workers. They're not trained well. And we're saying, produce, produce, produce. And guess what they're not doing? They're not listening, right? They're not listening. They're still running 2 instead of 34. So now you get this, now they're costing you more than they're helping you. You see why the body attacks it? That's autoimmune disease. So now the body is attacking and breaking down and killing off those cells it made that are actually ineffective now. And when that system burns out even more, that's when cancer can develop. Literally, when the battery drains low enough, you'll develop cancer in the tissue. Okay? There's no cell on the planet that can develop cancer if the charge is high enough in that tissue. Okay, that's what the research shows. I didn't make it up. So here's the question that got me thinking in a completely different paradigm. So I'm going to ask it to you guys. Who do you know, or have you ever heard of heart cancer? Heart cancer. Who gets heart cancer? Maybe a few really weird, rare cases, right? And it's probably not primary. It might be secondary. It's never going to be. Why in the world would, why isn't that a common thing? Right? Think about the energy debt. Okay? If your heart is running down here and you get a little lower drain on that battery, what's going to happen? You're going to have some kind of heart event before you can even develop cancer in that tissue. Let that sink in for a minute. Here's what I want you to hear. And this is not a cancer workshop, right? You're going to see how this applies to thyroid in a moment. Cancer is not trying to kill you. Cancer is trying to buy you more time with your loved ones. Right? It's an energy debt. It's doing the best it can. It doesn't just develop, it's actually a verb. You're cancering when your energy is at this stage. So we're going to move on from that, but that's it. Who got their healthcare world just kind of flips upside down a little minute? Yeah, different lens to think through, isn't it? Yeah, I've been trying to break this model for a long time and just trying to throw different ideas. And I haven't found a scenario or situation where this model doesn't apply really well. So inner thyroid, same idea. Full charge, everything's running right. You break it down, now you have large thyroid. That goes on, then your labs look a little funky, then you start throwing levothyroxine or Thyroid or whatever at it. Now you got autoimmune disease because it can't keep going, the battery strain too low. Then you end up with thyroid cancer and they take it out. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let's talk about how and why, right? But now we get a framework to think through to go, okay, where are you at in your journey with thyroid? And how do we recharge the battery? Can medication do that? No, it's not designed for that, right? So that's where we start leveraging physics. I'm going to skip Laura Not because she's an amazing and didn't do dramatically well, but she gets into a lot of numbers. And who's got it tired of hearing about lab numbers, right? So here's the bottom line. She had autoimmune thyroid. If you know anything about that, her numbers were in the over 1,000. Her antibodies were screaming high. Okay? And she's worked on it for a long time. And we got her down under 100 in a couple months. We're recharging the battery. That's the short version, okay? Her TSH went from over 40 to under 15. Is it perfect yet? By no means. But here's what you need to understand about TSH. TSH is the brain signal to the gland, right? It's logarithmic, meaning if a TSH of 1, let's say that was just one hormone, okay? A TSH of 2 would be 10 hormones. A TSH of 3 would be 100 hormones. A TSH of 4 would be 1,000. You get the idea? So to go from 40 to 15, that is huge. Does that make sense? So that's the nutshell of Laura's story, okay? And so Nancy, it's kind of funny. She says, I'm a 90% skeptic. And anyway, she started doing a whole lot better. And now she, in this one, says she's a 90% fan. And she's been here a long time now. So she's, anybody wants Nancy's number, let me know. She's happy to chat with you on her wins. But her bottom line was she wanted to kind of age gracefully. You know, like I'm tired of this medication stuff. I want to have a vital, vibrant life and be able to take care of my kids and grandkids and play and have fun. And she's doing that. So that's Nancy's story. If I play those, I end up going like an hour and a half. And I'm going to get to like showing you guys the real stuff. Is that fair? So I want to show you this today. What is the root cause? Kind of went over a little bit already. And then we're also going to go over our three-pronged approach, like what actually is working to get amazing changes. Hopefully you're getting a little bit of hope back for your own healing, and then show you what next steps could look like. Sound like a plan? That's where we're going. Okay, so here's number one. You cannot be in a state of crisis and healing at the same time. Right? Like if your house is on fire, you're not going to rearrange the furniture. Okay? Right? That's just not happening. And here's a really brief breakdown of how thyroid works. So brain talks to another part of the brain called pituitary, and then the pituitary makes TSH, and that goes to your thyroid gland in the neck. Right? And then from there, that's not done. It has to actually distribute that hormone to every cell in your body. That's a lot of cells, right? Trillions. So, but it goes into storage form. It's like the tractor trailer's on the road with a load of stuff, right? It's not actually there until it's at the store and then it's distributed. Does that make sense? So there's a conversion that's made in the hormone from inactive to active. And guess where that happens? A couple different places. Guts, liver, skin. Those are the three biggies. Okay? So, here's what I want you to notice. All these places where there's an X is where part of that system can be broken down. So there's a couple spots in the brain, and then it goes to the neck for the thyroid, and then it goes to the cells. So you see where there can be several areas where the problem can be hanging out, and it's not just the TSH that everybody's been droning on about. So here's what I want you to notice. You're going to see where stress will mess you up in all of these different areas, these little red circles coming down. All of these areas can be blocked when stress is a part of your world and it's a chronic scenario. Or even a one-time event, like a big car wreck, right? Whiplash. Where do you think your thyroid lives? You think that might get beat up in a car wreck? Like actually physically traumatized? Not to mention then the stress that goes on in the brain with that. Right? So stress can disrupt this in many, many areas. Okay? What happens then is you go in from your normal happy-go-lucky social engagement, let's go have fun and enjoy life together, to panic, fear, anxiety, worry, concern. You might have been there before. Or rage, anger, irritation, frustration. right? That's the one I tend to lean toward if I'm getting agitated. Sympathetic, fight or flight. We've all heard of that one before. And then when that goes too far, we go into freeze. Okay, so think about the Discovery Channel, and you got the little, whatever, gazelle running away from the tiger, right? So what happens to the gazelle? It's either going to run, it's going to try to fight it and poke it with the horns or whatever, or it's going to try to play dead. You get three options and you don't get to pick, it just happens. You know what I'm talking about? So freeze is that one. And what we experience and feel when we're in freeze is helplessness, depression, numbness, dissociation. You're scrolling on Instagram or whatever, like you're just not checked in. Shame. I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Right? I'm less than, not enough. Those feelings. Hopelessness, despair, feeling trapped. Who's been there? Yeah. That's a hard place to live. That's a really hard place to live. In fact, you're not living there. You're literally playing dead in survival mode, is what your nervous system's doing. Okay, so I want to show you how to get out of this, to start healing this on your own. Because we've all had stories in our world that have impacted this, right? So let me show you this. This is really, really important. In your handout as well, it's going to show you, like you can walk through this at home, but let me show you how to do this simply and easily. Your wrists are your key. On the thumb side of your wrist, there are 3 buttons. They line up about like that. Yeah, it's easiest to put one hand on the other one like that, and then you're just going to loop your fingers onto the thumb side of the wrist. Yeah, let's like slide it up over here a little bit more, right on the artery. Yeah, you can right where your thumb is if you slide it under. Yeah, there you go. Yes, yes. Yeah, yep, yep. Perfect. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. You can go on that way. Yep. The reason I like this is because the other hand goes on your forehead. So if you're like this, you might bonk yourself in the nose. But either way is fine. If you need to do it like that, there's no wrong way to do it. This was just a little bit more comfortable when you're treating it. Okay, so what do we do when we're choking? Right? That's universal for choking. What do we do when we're stressed out of our mind? Right? Like everybody grabs their forehead. This is the emotional reflex in the brain. Okay? So when you're here, these buttons represent different organs. Okay? In the Chinese world is where this comes from. Okay? So literally, you don't even know what they are. I can show you later if you want, but you link up the buttons here, and the other hand goes on the forehead. And you give yourself permission to feel whatever that thing is you're feeling. So let's back it up 1 second and we'll do it together. I want you to think of something that was stressful in your world, but only maybe like a 5 out of 10. I don't want anybody having PTSD flashbacks right now, okay? So we're going to do like a 5 out of 10 stressful. Everybody have something like that in mind?
Of course.
Yeah. And then I want you to link that up. And then just give yourself permission to feel that. And we'll spend a minute or two here and then trade hands. If you feel like it's relaxed or shifted in some way or lost some charge, and you can literally just switch hands and go to the other side when you're ready. When you feel like that's going to relax a bit more, you can just rest the hands down. Okay? And then what do you notice when you think about that same topic? Does it have the same charge on it? Or is it a little less maybe? Yeah, your body feels a little more relaxed. So that, what I just showed you, I've spent over 6 figures figuring out and learning over the years. I'm handing that to you for free. Will you please use it? Okay. I kid you not, the research on this is, there's nothing else that matches it. They've done pre and post brain MRIs that prove that this works. Okay, they did that down in Jefferson and Philly. Now they teach post-grad courses on stress relief, and this is one of the techniques they use for that. Okay, so it's called the first aid stress tool or FAST technique. And a quick story on that. This is a couple years ago. I was driving the minivan with all the kids in it, right? And trying to give mom a break, going to the park or something. I don't remember where we're going. And kids are doing kid stuff in the back seat. You've all been there? And I was about to blow a gasket and drive us off the next cliff we're coming to. And thankfully I had enough brain cells left to go, wait a minute, I'm going to pull over. And I did it fast. And in a minute or two, Dad was back. I don't know what that was, but I was able to calm the nerve system down and go back to regulated normal brain. And we went and had a fun day. Okay, so it can work that quickly. And you don't even need to know what it's about, is the great thing. Now, you might know other things in your story, and you can definitely work on those, and we got techniques to help you with that. But the bottom line is, if you're living up here, is your thyroid able to heal? No. Why? You can't be in crisis and healing at the same time. That's huge. There's another one in here. It's a gift for you as well. It's called the heart focus technique. It comes from a Heart Math Institute. They've done a bajillion research studies on this too. Will calm your nerve system down. So these are practical hands-on tools you can use to start getting your brain reset from stress. Cool? Is that helpful? Mm-hmm. We could probably end it right there, but we're going to do more. Is that all right with you guys? Yeah. Sure you can. Yeah. And that's not mine. Give credit where credit's due. I don't know where I stole it from the internet, but it's on there. So you guys can find that as well. It's not hard to find.
Thank you.
Yeah, certainly. So yeah, there's that one. You can literally teach a 3-year-old how to do this. So teach the kids, teach the grandkids, whatever. I have a colleague, she's in the mental health world. She's a school counselor in an elementary school. And she taught the kids how to do this. And now the kids in front of the principal's office, right? They're doing this, right? But it's changed the whole culture of the school. They're like, oh, Jimmy's having a hard day. Are you okay? It's really revolutionized their school. It's been very fun to see. Anyway, so yeah, teach that to whoever you want.
Now, how does I know you're teaching that, but for those who have lymphedema in one arm that doesn't really have the feeling in their arm?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't?
Yeah, the lymphedema is not going to change the neurology that you're affecting. Yeah, it's a sensory, it's a touch issue that your brain rewires it with the touch and the feeling of the emotion. Yeah, the lymphedema won't change that. Great question, though. Yeah. That's in your handout, by the way. If you need a hard copy, I can get you that too. Same thing with this. That should be in your handout as well. If not, we'll make sure you get a copy of that. That's the heart focus one as well. Okay. When we start applying this kind of stuff, we do stories like Heidi. These protocols transform my life, providing profound and natural relief from overwhelming stress and anxiety. I know that's a big part of thyroid challenges, is just the stress that goes along with that. Okay? So breakthrough secret number 2 is inflammation control. Who's heard that chronic inflammation is like the scourge of the universe, right? It messes everything up. So let's talk about that. What are the top triggers? What's number 1? Do you see why we started with stress today? If you don't control stress, you're not going to control inflammation. So that's a big deal. Pathogens. We are number 1 in the world in Pennsylvania for Lyme disease and tick-borne illnesses. Yay for us, right? But that's a big deal. If you have Lyme or some other tick-borne illness, it can really mess with your energy and all kinds of things, right? So pathogens will do this. Obviously, junk food doesn't help. And then you have certain medications and chemicals that will mess with this too. And here's one that I never really understood. So let's say we have mercury here, right? and you have all the OSHA regulations and standards about how to take care of mercury and keep people safe from that poisonous metal, right? And then all of a sudden, you need a filling and they put it in your mouth, and now it's fine. And then when they remove it and change out the filling, now you got toxic mercury again. You better take really good care of it, and OSHA's going to come get you if you don't. Tell me if that makes sense. So what we do know is mercury and thyroid do not get along. Sometimes the fillings in your teeth or the dental work that you have had done is a complicating factor that is damaging your thyroid and your brain. Like, pituitary, hypothalamus, all those other structures above it, they don't get along. It doesn't mean run out and go have your filling removed, right? You gotta do that safely and with a qualified dentist that knows what they're doing in the right order.
Don't do it all at one time.
Don't know. So like believe me, we can have that conversation, but you need to be aware that heavy metals like that can really monkey with, and more than monkey with, actually destroy your thyroid. Okay? It's a big deal. And then chronic dehydration is a big deal. The thyroid gland distributes through the lymph first. Okay? And so if lymph is blocked up, your thyroid's not going to distribute properly. That being said, half your body weight in ounces of water is a general rule of thumb that most people will do well with. Okay? And then water's a whole other category of, you do a whole workshop on just water. Typically, spring water is best. It's got some minerals and things like that in it. If you're drinking tap water, right? What's RFK trying to get out of there now? Right, fluoride. Fluoride is going to kill your thyroid gland. It's fake, artificial, right? Then fluorine and iodine are cousins. And here's the thing on your labs, your TSH and the T3, T4, the lab has no idea if it's made out of fluoride or if it's made out of iodine. So you might have Franken hormones in there that actually don't function the way they're supposed to. And the labs look normal. Are you with me? So that's another thing you need to be aware of. So inflammation.
So fluoride in the toothpaste too?
Right. I never recommend fluoride toothpaste for that reason. Granted, I'm not a dentist, but for people that have thyroid problems, I don't recommend thyroid. Thank you. Fluoride toothpaste for that reason.
Or fluoride treatments.
Or fluoride treatment, right.
Wow.
Okay. If you have a family history of that, maybe not the best idea to have kids treated with it, right? If you have a family history of that going on. Does it make sense? Yeah, so the inflammation is a big deal. When we start to, here's where inflammation will break down the system. 1, 2, 3, at least 4 or 5 different spots, inflammation will break your thyroid. Okay? When we start reducing inflammation, here's what we see. Isabel, amazing lady. She came in, severe thyroid problems, severe type 2 diabetes. And this picture, I'll tell you about in a minute. She says this, I'm on top of the world, flying on a cloud, no matter what are the circumstances. She's French, wonderful French accent. And so you should hear her say it. But I'm feeling the best of my body at age 53. And a year ago, I was told that I was very sick. In her own words or intake form, in 1 to 3 years, she's like, I'm going to be dead if something doesn't change. And she wasn't wrong. I mean, she was in bad shape. We helped her through some detoxification, helped her to take the drain off of her batteries, right? And then recharge the batteries is the bottom line there. Supported her with that. And this is 70 pounds lighter. Okay? Type 2 diabetes was gone. Thyroid re-regulated. She came in one day and she said, Doc, I'm giving you a bill. I'm like, what's going on? You're doing so amazing. What happened? And she said, I need an entirely new wardrobe because none of my clothes fit anymore. I've lost all this weight. And, so we had a good chuckle about that one. But yeah, wonderful sense of humor. And Isabel is doing great. Number 3 then is healing at the speed of light. Advanced technology for a vibrant life. This is where we're going to do our live demo. And we're going to show you how we start to leverage the physics to actually get more energy back into your system. And you literally start healing at the speed of light. Who wants to see that? Awesome. Let's do that. So here's what I need to know. Who has had thyroid challenges for more than 5 years? Okay. Those of you that have had it removed, we're going to skip you guys on the dental, unfortunately, because that, right, it's a little more complicated when it's not there anymore. But that being said, who's had it for more than 5 years again? And you still have your thyroid? Okay, so there's more than 10 years? Wow.
Keep going.
How long, Sherry?
Close to 40.
40 years. 40 years for you too.
2 months here.
2 months. Okay. That's good.
And
We're going to pick on the ladies though, since they've had it for 40 years.
back and forth between high and low also.
Yeah, it'll, right? Up and down, up and down. Okay. All right, let's do this. Anybody longer than 40 years? Okay. Just making sure.
Probably, but it's gone.
All right, so between the two of you, here's how we settle these little fun things. We're gonna do rock, paper, scissors. Okay, yeah, you might have seen that from. So we got rock, right, paper, and scissors. You ever see that?
Yeah.
So we're just gonna do that. So you and Sherry, here we go. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors. 1, 2. We're gonna do it like this. I'll walk you through it. 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna say shoot, and you do your rock, your paper, or your scissors. Yeah, good. Okay. All right. Who's got their money on Patricia? Who's got their money on Sherry? Here we go. Ready? Let's do this. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Okay. Scissors beats paper. So Sherry, you win. You're round of applause. Come on. All right. Sherry, nothing we're gonna do is gonna hurt. You need to know that. Nothing's gonna hurt.
That's okay, I heard all the time.
Okay. So let's see what happens here. So I guess the question is, we're going to offer you a treatment today. You okay with that?
How long have I been in treatment?
No. We're going to give you a treatment right now.
Okay.
That's okay with you?
As long as it doesn't affect my neck. Okay.
The only side effect, you'll see the side effects we see in a minute. Come on up here. They're never bad though. Yeah. Come on up here. All right. So, a little rough getting out of a chair. There might be some other things happening too. I noticed the knees. Sherry, let's have you turn around and face our lovely audience. Give her a little round of applause for volunteering there. I think after high school we get clapped for like 3 or 4 times. That's about it. So we like to give some extra love when we can. So Sherry, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say your energy level is right now? 0 is like, seriously, put me in bed, tuck me in, I'm done.
Yeah,
And 10 is I can keep going, all night long.
I would say maybe a 2.
Maybe a 2. Okay, so energy is pretty low right now. All right. Let's see what else is gonna happen here. We're gonna do some of the screenings to show you guys what it's a little bit like in our assessments here. That way. There we go. So we're going to check some shoulder range of motion first. Any shoulder problems I should be aware of? All right, so I'm just going to have you let the arm go completely heavy and limp. We're going to see if this moves well. Okay. And she actually moves quite well. And now, ideally, it hits her in the side of the head. But, I'm not going to complain too much about that. Let this relax completely for me here. Let me do all the work. Let it drop heavy. There you go. Let me have it. Let it go. Yeah, so we may not see a lot of change in that. I don't know. But you got the sticks about here, right? Give or take. Why do we take shoulder range of motion? What does that do with thyroid? Partly, yes. So the other thing is one of the rotator cuff muscles we're going to check next, the teres minor, relates to thyroid function. So I can say this because my dad was a trucker for years and years, right? So what's the trucker? They got the big gut, big butt, right? And they walk like this, right? And so if you see people, who's a people watcher? You like to watch, yeah. So watch for people with their, walking in the airport, whatever. Hands turned backwards, right? And they're walking like this. That's a low functioning thyroid.
Really?
Yeah. Here's why. The teres minor does this movement. Okay, it rotates the hands out and back. And so that muscle is tired out. You're going to see the hands rotate backwards like this. Okay? So watch for that. Just a little fun thing to look for. Bend the elbow. We're going to test that muscle right now. I'm going to push the wrist towards your middle here. Don't let me do that. Okay? Yep. Keep that elbow pinned to your side. I'm going to rotate that in. Don't let me rotate that in. Okay. And hers, she's got some contraction, right? But it's just not grabbing. It's not holding tight. Let's do the other one here. And if you need to move and see, feel free to get up and move this so you don't have to be pinned to your chair here. Right there, rotate it out into my hand. I'm gonna rotate more this way, Sherry.
Okay.
Right there, hold it there. I'm gonna rotate it in, don't let me do that. Okay. And so yeah, she's got weakness on both sides. If it was just one, it might be a shoulder problem, right? But she has weakness both sides of bilateral inhibition there. So is that thyroid always? Maybe, maybe not. It could be neck, it could be several other things, but at least we got it's a screening tool. Yeah, she's had this for 40 years, likely related. Okay, so that's one. And then we're gonna do repeated muscle activation. A normal muscle should be able to contract about 100 times before it starts getting tired. Okay, that has to do with your ATP. Remember that oxygen turning into energy, right? How quickly is that system working? Is it working? Are you tracking with me there? So let's check this one out here, Sherry. Elbow straight, thumb towards your waist. We're checking the whole shoulder girdle here. And just, I'm going to push down, resist up into my hand. You need some pressure up, lift up in my hand. Lift the wrist up. I'm going to push down, don't let me. Okay, that one's actually weak. We're going to choose a different muscle. Bend the elbow for me here. Bend it at the elbow. Yeah, right there. I'll choose the deltoid on this one. Hold that up strong here. I'm going to push down. Don't let me push. That's okay. Any pain with that? So she's got good resistance on that one. You see that? We're going to see how many of those she can do before he gets tired. Okay? Bend that one here. Good. Hold that up for me here. And just resist my pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4. 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get around 35. Right? Getting a little tired there? She's like, yeah. Let's try this one. Good. Hold that elbow up for me in the air. Push up, push up. Okay. So she has other shoulder things going on. This is actually inhibited too. So she's got a couple other shoulder things. We'll just use that one as our indicator because I can't use the left one. Is that fair? So we got about, what, 30, 35, so as long as you guys remember. And then you can feel this one on yourself too. Under your collarbone, there's a toilet handle for your thyroid, okay? It's about 3 finger widths down, and it's often very tender if the thyroid's active or having a hard day. Now, it's kind of like tickling yourself, though. Like, it doesn't always, like, if somebody else does it, it's a little more sensitive than if you do it. So we're just going to check here for Sherry. And right about there. Give me a number on this, pain-wise. 10 is bad, 0 points in, right? Yeah, sort of.
3, yeah.
So a 3. I'm not trying to kill it, but, like, it's a 3 out of 10. Okay, let's try the other side here. And right, ooh, that's a little worse.
Yeah.
I can feel the tissues tighter in my hand. What number is that one?
Yeah, it's about a 1.
A 1. So 1's good, 10's bad. In that,
Oh,
let's go the other one. I'm sorry.
yeah.
10 we severe pain, 0's no pain.
Okay.
What do you feel there?
Yeah, about an 8.
8 on that. Okay. Let's make sure. And this was a 3, you said, or was this higher? 10's bad, 0's good.
That's maybe a 6.
Okay, so now we're on the same scale.
Yeah.
6 and 8. Okay, and so we have enough already, but we're going to go a little further. Remember in the brain we had pituitary, pineal, like all these different areas of the brain that can get involved? And then where does it convert? You remember? Liver and guts. So we're going to check these other reflexes on our system. Like when you have a knee and they tap the knee and it kicks. Is that can you control that or is that involuntary? These are the same thing. Okay, so we're going to check these reflexes to see what's going on. Hold this arm straight for me here. I'm going to push down. Don't let me push down. So that's solid. The point for your hypothalamus is here. Push up in my hand. And she says that's a little bit tired out. I don't know why yet, but we're just seeing the reflex inhibited. Okay? The one for your pituitary is on the bridge of your nose. Can you touch right here for me with your other hand? Yeah, with your left hand. You're just going to touch right here. You may have your fingers. Yep, we're going to grab your nose. Where you are, going to grab your nose right there. Perfect. You don't need to squeeze hard, just lightly touch. Push up in my hand. Okay, and so she said, oh man, my pituitary is tired as well. Okay, now the thyroid lives in the neck right here. Let's have you touch on your neck here for me, Sherry. Yeah, right there in the notches, good. Okay, now push up for me here. Yeah, and so you see that one inhibited as well. No big surprise because he's had it for 40 years. Okay, and then we're going to check liver. That lives on the right rib cage. Flat hand on the rib cage. There you go. And push up for me here. Hold that up if you can. Who's trying? Yeah, nobody there either.
No.
And then we're going to go to the gut. So point to your belly button for me. Yeah, so yeah, right above. You'll be below the ribs and above the belly button. Flat handed. Yeah, that'll work. Let's go. Yeah, I like that. Push up for me there. All right, so we see GI, we see liver, we see all the reflexes are active. Just to show you it's not necessarily everything, we're just going to go to the point for the lung. Right? I don't know if it's active or not. Just to show you it may hold that strong here. Push up in my hand. And so like that one doesn't change. But all these other ones related to her thyroid are actually tired out. You with me? Has anybody seen any kind of testing like that before? Would that make sense to kind of include in a physical exam and go like, maybe we can get a little better idea than just looking at a TSH?
When I went to PT, they did that, but that was for my neck.
Yeah, and they're actually trying to do exercises to change that. They're not looking for reflexes for the organs. So again, somebody that has a gallbladder problem, right? They're going to feel it refer in their neck, or right, a heart attack, good arm. So pain refers to these different areas of reflexes. So we got our information. We know a lot of the system's tired out. She's feeling a 2 out of 10 energy, 35 or so muscle activation. You with me? Okay, so now what we're going to do is actually work on her. And when I say we, I mean Dr. Jeff. Dr. Midgley is going to help us out and doing all the fun stuff.
He's coming with the x-rays.
Thankfully, they're not x-rays, but they are rays.
Planet.
Yeah, do you remember the physics part we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
And what's one of the layers of physics?
Light.
Light. So we're going to use light today only, and we're going to use some vibration, because that gets lymphatics moving. So that's not technically physics, but it is input to the brain and nerve system, okay?
We'll have a seat right here for me.
Yeah.
And we'll even have you keep your shoes on. We can do this with your shoes on.
Oh, yeah.
Is that okay? Unless you want to take them off.
No.
Okay.
And again, if you want to move and
I need
see,
help getting up.
feel free. We
We'll
can
see.
pick it up.
We'll
Yeah.
see. Put this one underneath your back here. This one on this side.
And while he's setting this up, I'm going to explain what's happening. And what we're using is a laser, several in this particular scenario. Here's what happens when we start using laser, right? We're adding light energy, which always goes in on that right side of the column. It'll automatically make more energy for you in the most efficient way possible. It bypasses your digestion, all that other stuff, and goes right in and pumps energy into the body where it needs it.
When do I arrive? If I arrive in Mars?
There's a blast off button. I don't recommend you push that one yet. So just we see antibodies reducing. We see the tissue regenerating. We see pain reduction. Inflammation calms down. Right? Better thyroid support and function. Immune response gets happier. Why can all this stuff happen with light? What's happening to the battery? Does that make sense? We can see all these cool benefits, all these side effects from light because it's charging the battery up. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, number 2, we do a vibration. 1, it reduces stress in the system. Those big massage chairs, and if you're ever in one of those things, you just kind of calms things down a bit. Some people hate them. But in this scenario, vibration will get lymphatics moving and helps the nerve system de-stress better. Okay, so that's why we're using vibration. And that being said, have you ever pushed a lawnmower, right? The hands get, like, that's the wrong vibration. That pushes fluid out, makes the nerves mad. It's actually the right vibration, the good vibes, calmed it down. And then over here is our foot bath station. And we have, depending on the scenario, a lot of people like to have one at their house instead of coming here to do it. I don't care either way, whatever's most effective for them. Bottom line is, The ion cleanse detox system helps to flood the body with electrons so you can make more energy. It also gets acid out of the body, helps to regulate blood sugar. It does a million good things, and every session will last for 40 to 72 hours. So I'm more concerned about what's happening after it than like during the session. Yes, you will see the water turn dirty colors, and anybody that's telling you, oh, green is gallbladder and orange is joints and all this stuff that you might see on the internet is probably lying through their teeth. There's no way to really prove that color means anything, so I don't put any stock in that. I do know the physics behind it actually work. I wish there was another way because it's kind of messy. Right? If we could do it in a simpler way, we would, but this is really powerful technology. What else to tell you about that? The acidity part. That's a big one. Do you ever put away like your holiday stuff that has batteries in it, and next year it's all crusty and right? That battery is drained, like it's leaking now. So if you've got crystalline stuff like kidney stones or gallbladder stone, anything that's gout, like right, crystallization in the tissue means the battery is really drained. Okay, so this helps with the acidity to change that in your body. Does it make sense? Is there a question?
Yeah. Very important question. For those who have gone through cancers, done the radiation, chemo, and all that's when that started affecting my thyroid because I've gone through it twice.
Okay.
So now they are starting me again on the pump to get my lymph nodes and all that stuff to start getting things flowing.
Yeah.
Does that help out with the thyroid once all that starts moving around?
It could, yes. If that's the only blockage point, right? So is it brain? Is it, but if you're dealing with cancer, where do we know her battery's at?
Very
Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense? So I would be thinking through a different lens where that can be supportive and helpful. It's not charging the battery that's going to make the tissue run on its own. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And again, none of those things are wrong, but they're starting at the physiology layer. They're adding mechanical stimulus. That's what this is, the vibration plate here. That's a physiological stimulus. We're not changing chemistry right with me. So you just have to know where you're playing in that pyramid. And they're not wrong. It's just how do you leverage all of it to get the best results.
So sometimes I feel like I'm just going to be this way the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So, because I'm on thyroxine, I'm on other stuff.
Right.
Nothing seems to be helping.
Yeah. Like, anybody else feel hopeless? Right? Yeah. So you're not alone in that. Can we help everybody? No. So I don't know yet. Right? But hang in there. Hopefully this gives you a little taste of what could be possible. The other key point, remember we mentioned magnets. So these beds here are electromagnetic. The chair that Sherry's in here, it's literally a magnet that turns on and off very quickly. I did it a few weeks ago and I killed my laptop battery, just blinked like that. So I'm not going to do that today. But what happens is, when your cell phone's dead and you put it on the induction charger, you stick it on the thing, it's literally like that. It's physically charging your batteries up in your cells. Okay? Some of you may have heard of Tony Robbins before. So he sleeps on these things before he does his presentations. They had to make it extra long. He's such a tall guy. Right? But he has these in his homes.
So these aren't the same as those grounding sheets?
No. Grounding sheets can be useful, but they don't necessarily recharge the battery. Right? They just kind of take the drain off the battery. So there's a difference, right? So that's helpful, but it's not necessarily recharging it. And we need charge back in the battery. What charges it? Physics, right? How do you charge that? Like again, your cell phone's dying, you put it on the charger, it needs electrons, right? To recharge the battery. Are you with me? Does that make sense? Yeah, so again, none of these things are necessarily wrong or bad. It's just what layer are we playing in, and is that all you need to make that better, or do we need other support involved as well? So yeah, briefly, restoring damaged cells, inflammation gets better, all similar things to light because we're leveraging a different kind of physics with electromagnetic fields. Now, we live in a world where everybody's got a cell phone, right? Everybody's got Wi-Fi. These can be harmful radio waves and electromagnetic fields into the body, right? So we have drainage happening all over the place. Your electric cars, all of that stuff is draining your battery because they run on AC current, and the brain and nervous system run on DC current. So you got to put it in the right way the body actually can utilize it. Okay? So physics is a big layer, and then we use our hydration nutrition protocols to actually work. We can customize and tailor this, like we saw with Sherry. We can see which individual reflexes are offline, and then support them accordingly with the right diet, nutritional supplements, etc. Even see, well, I'm not going to say that because we're live. So we can test all kinds of things with this, but these actually work. One other thing I would mention: a lot of times people with thyroid challenges have joint problems. You see that all the time. And so just to share some hope with you on that one, the soft weight is, for most skeletal stuff, it's always like cheating. It's amazing for joint pain, inflammation. It was all over Paris. Eagles had at least 2 in their locker room. It's literally all over every professional sport out there. And we've got one here. Does amazing stuff for healing up connective tissue, reducing inflammation, avoiding surgeries. Like meniscal problems are a thing of the past. This is bonkers what it can do. Brain fog. My wife Emily. This is probably 30 pounds heavier for her as well. And brain fog, right? Living on caffeine, right? She's been in it, yeah. And so we started leveraging, getting rid of the drains on her battery, supporting her with the right things, and now she can navigate a more demanding schedule, and she still has her own health journey we're all on, but she's doing way better in the brain fog clip. The ideas she has now, like when I married her, is unbelievable, and now it's like 10x what her brain's coming up with and how fast it can work. It's unbelievable. So that's our own personal story with that one. How we doing, Doc?
Good.
All right, let's see what we do with Sherry. You guys want to see what's happening now? So we'll go back to. Gotcha.
Perfect, thank you. Set this one. I'll take the one back.
So who's starting to think that's kind of interesting? I wonder what's going to happen with Sherry. Is he really going to make, that 50 to 100% thing? Is that for real? All right, Sherry, come on up here.
Yeah, right. Hold the chair.
I got Sherry. There you go.
The left one's getting done this summer.
Maybe we should soft wave it first, just saying. Stand here for me. How's your, what are you noticing now?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I feel a little bit of a tingling in through here, but that could be because my neck's in bad shape.
Could be. Mm-hmm. What else do you notice?
Breathing.
Okay. What do you mean?
It feels stronger.
Oh,
I don't have to.
yeah.
Might just be me.
Well, I mean, these are the kind of side effects we see. I'm always curious to see what the experience is because literally everybody's a little different. I wouldn't think to ask about her breathing per se.
I don't feel as weighed down either.
Okay. So you felt weight down before and now that's different somehow?
Yeah.
So
bit.
like lighter in a way. Okay. Anything else you're noticing?
shaking as much.
Right? Yeah, I saw that too. She said you're not shaking as
Shaking your
much.
hands were shaky before.
Yeah. Yeah.
That has just come on in recent months.
The shaking part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So let's see what happened with her. Anything else you want to add to that, or no? That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's check range of motion. We'll start at the top, work our way through again. Let this relax completely. Nice and heavy. Let me do the work. Let it go heavy. Let it go heavy. There you go.
Yeesh, wow.
Is that different?
Yeah.
Look a little different to me. Let this one relax completely. Let it go heavy and loose. That's it.
And went further.
We had to go further, right? Did we do 6 weeks of PT and
I did.
did we treat his shoulder?
What?
We didn't treat your shoulder, right? What did we do? We added light. Let's see what else happened. I forgot to ask you, your energy level at the moment, what are you noticing? You said it was a 204. Is that
I
different?
wouldn't be as tired driving home.
Okay. When's the last time you felt like that at this time of the day?
It's been a long time.
Like months, weeks, years,
Keep going.
40
decades? Oh my God.
I've always been tired. Always. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here. Bend your elbow for me here. Let's see about these teres minor. That's a big deal. Push your wrist out of my hand.
Wow.
Bend your elbow here. Push out of my hand. Yeah.
Wow.
Straighten the elbow. I'm just curious if this one got better too. Hold that up in the air and push it with my hand. Look at that. Woo. Bend the elbow. Straight up in my hand here. So those were inhibited before, now they've turned back on. We could probably stop there. We have a couple more screenings to do, don't we? Like, I'm going, what else is better? So let's check that 100 test one. Right? We can run 35 before. Remember that one? Elbow open to my hand. Bend that a little bit more for me. Bend, yeah, right there. Hold that up to strong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 30.
Wow.
40, 4, 5, 6, 7, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95. Okay. Not quite to 100, but man, that's an A plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's huge. What does that tell us? Because we're doing a physiological test.
My body wants to be healthy.
Yes. Yes. It has what it needs. It just needs more energy to do it. Reflexes. Oh, tenderness. How's that now?
Very minimal.
Minimal.
Just enough to feel the pressure. That's it.
And it wasn't 8. What's that one?
Not the same.
And I'm pushing, right? Like I'm not. All right. Check the reflexes now. Hold that strong for me here. Push up. Good. Push up. That's hypothalamus. Pituitary. Push up. Touch your neck for me here on the, yeah, elbow straight. Let's get that right. Elbow straight. Great. Yep. Hold that up for me here. Push up. Yeah. Liver. Hand over here for me. Push up. Now that one's still active, right? We didn't get all that. Okay. Something's going on there yet. Hand in the middle. Push up there for me. But looks like your guts are a little happier there too. Yeah. You can rest all that down. Have you ever seen changes like that before? Can you see why we're winning when other systems have failed? Sure, you can have a seat. That's why I can tell you 50 to 100% improvement. thank you for letting us serve you in this way. Like, honestly, do you feel beat on? Okay, good. We definitely were challenging your system, but you did a lot of good healing. And we only did light and a little vibration for how long? Maybe
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Maybe less.
Imagine now you have technology in your hands where you can treat yourself and your family members day in and day out. What do you think happens in 3 to 4 months from now? Not to mention changing diet appropriately, maybe getting some supplements that are supporting your system, getting rid of other battery drains, helping you reset the stress brain even more. Can you see why people start healing at the speed of light? That is the power your body has to heal. Who's a little excited about that? Who's thinking, you know what, this might be a good option for me? It could be a little bit of hope, a little bit of a possibility.
Right now, anything helps.
Right now, anything helps. Yeah. And we've got a whole lot of anythings. Okay, we really do. So here's what's in front of you now, right? Like, keep doing what you've been doing, or let's try something different. It's actually just showing you in real time changes in front of your eyes. These are common questions I get. That's amazing. It worked for Sherry. She's had thyroid problems for 40 years, but it won't work for me. This sounds too good to be true, right? But when we leverage those physics layers, if we can help you, it's going to make changes. How do I know if I qualify? Well, we do our assessment, right? If you've already had labs done, we don't need to repeat that stuff necessarily. If it's been a while, we can order whatever we need to. Bottom line is we check you out, we go through what's in consult, do our intake and see if there's anything that'll be ruling you out from being able to accept your case and help you out. Okay? Another one is if you've had a thyroid removed, it does not mean we cannot support you, but we do need to have clear expectations on what's possible or reasonable without a gland. Even though your brain is trying to operate as if it's still there, your brain has no concept of missing organ. It's just trying to work anyway. How long does it typically take? It takes about an hour, give or take. And healing times vary depending on if you had it for 4 years or 2 months, right? So there's a lot of range. I can't really answer that question effectively in a group like this. Insurance. What do they like to cover?
Nothing.
Nothing, she says, right? Yeah. Yeah. Can I tell you some hard truth on this one? Medicare typically writes a lot of the guidelines on what's covered and what's not, and then other insurance companies will follow suit. And is Medicare trying to cover the latest, greatest technology, or are they trying to just not go bankrupt right now?
Right.
Yeah. And is that probably not likely to change in my lifetime or my kid's lifetime? My job here is being straightforward with you and honest, and if I'm not that, we're nothing. Insurance isn't going to cover this. Okay?
Do you check? Do you try? Do you check? Do you try?
Oh yeah, like certain things they might, like if you need to do some whatever hands-on stuff, they may cover a piece of that. But the technology you're seeing, that is not a covered Medicare service. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Medicare, I've got other insurance.
Yeah, I will say that some do. Some have tried, and it's super mixed. I would say 99% of the time, though, there's some kind of, it's like we've got codes we try to support you with, but I'm just telling you straight out, it's an uphill battle all the way. And some, 1% win that battle.
How often do you have to repeat the treatment?
That's a great question. Depends on what's going on, right? I wish there were a simple answer for
Can
that.
actually help with one treatment?
Yeah. So we've had people that experience a demonstration, right? And then we get to see them for an exam later on. And they're like, oh, that felt great. I was good for 3-4 days after one session. Other people, it's, their battery is too far drained and they go back and tomorrow morning it's like, oh man, I'm dragging again, right? So it depends on a lot of variables for that, but that's typically why, again, it's not like come in here and get the treatment. That's where we win. You would own your own technology to be able to treat yourself day in, day out. So it's not like, oh, how often do I have to go in and get my battery charged? No, you charge it every day. That's why we're winning. That's why the bodies are changing and we're seeing amazing changes in a relatively short period of time. Does that make sense? So I think it's a little different question. Instead of like, how long do they last? It's how much can I charge my battery? How fast can I charge my battery? Does that seem like a little different question? Maybe a little, different way to look at that. Great question, but it's quite variable. Yeah, for those reasons. And then the other question would be, well, if insurance isn't picking this up, what's it going to be to invest in my health like that, right? So commonly, I gotta flip this around a little bit for you too. Like, what's it costing you now to live the way you're living? Right? Like, you're already in an energy crisis. Again, seeing that with my sister and my mom and my own family and my own thyroid challenge. Like, man, you don't even live that way. To be able to spend time with your family in a good mood and have energy to spare, what's that worth? Priceless for me. So I wish we could charge, $10 million, but we can't, right? But yeah. Bottom line is, though, I would say this again. Depending on what's going on, we don't even know where you're at yet. If we can help you all the way, care plans are going to range in the ballpark of say $400 to up maybe $800 a month, depending on what's happening. And then total value, right, for you to own your own equipment for your lifetime can be in the range of say 10 to 15, even 20,000, depending on what you want to do and how many things you want to get a hold of, right? And so that really depends on the person, what's going on, what funds are available. We never kick anybody out for those reasons. We just go, what's available, what's possible, and what does that make sense? Like funding aside, who's thinking that, man, this looks like it could be a good option? Nobody. One of you. Okay. And Sherry. Yeah, like if funds weren't a problem, everybody's like, yeah, right? This could be a good solution. So here's my promises. We help you figure that out. We work with what you got. We're going to support you every possible way we can, because here's what I do know. You're never going to get this from your other providers, right? They just don't have that option available to them. Unfortunately, this is how it is. So that's my heart passion is to support the families. And man, how do we get you not dependent on the doctor? That's my hope and goal. And we start where we can. Is that fair? But just being straight honest with you, I'm not pulling any punches. Just tell me how it is. My commitment and promise to you is this. If we can help you, I will do everything we possibly can to make it better. If we can't, I'm not going to blow smoke and say we can help you. Or if you got some other problem going on that we need to deal with first, I'm going to get you referred to the right people that can help take good care of you, and then we can maybe, bounce back and support you later on. Right? So that's my promise, is just to treat you like a normal human being. Okay? And we're not going to, it's just, yeah. It seems silly that we have to mention that in this day and age, but that's where we are. All right, so next steps. How might you start using this if that's in your interest? We have a 2-day process, like a lot of places. We have our information gathering day, and then we have a report day. Okay, so day 1, you get a personal one-on-one consult. What are your goals? What do you want back? What's life like now? What's going to be different if it's better? We go through our comprehensive neurological thyroid exam, and then we do some diagnostics. Looks like a pulse ox, tells us about your stress system. So it's non-invasive, and we get, I like to see this one here, needs to be in the middle. Whoops. That one here needs to be in the middle. If not, you're either in fight, flight, or freeze, and we can know that in under 5 minutes. Okay. We also look at your blood flow. If your blood flow is low, you might need cardiology or something like that. The sooner that we can help you. So we refer out. We save a lot of heart attacks with this kind of screening. We check to see if you're in fight, flight, freeze, or where you're at with our physical exam. Okay. Get our information together. We look at your labs and so on. If we need to order labs in that time, we will. And then we'll, on day 2, after the team gets together, puts our heads together, go, can we help them get their goal back? We go over your information with you on the second visit. And we invite you to bring anybody with you that helps make healthcare decisions. Right? Because that's a big deal. And the more, especially if you have brain fog, right? We invite as many people as you want to help support you in that process. Because you get way more value out of those visits. Does that make sense? We give you a graph of what's happening and your customized care plan to get you your goals back. Now that's straightforward, and go over any financing options you would need and financial possibilities at that point too. Okay? So all that together, value is $875. But here's what I do know: people that don't take action, you just stay stuck. And you keep living in a life where you're miserable. So I want to make this as helpful as possible. I want you to take action and do something you learned today, right? So as part of that too, we're going to give you a treatment similar to what we did for Sherry on that second visit and get you energized and juiced up some more too. We're including that. And then we're also going to give you 25 anti-inflammatory foods and recipes you can start using right now to start making this better. Does that sound like a plan? So those are gifts I want to give to you guys. Total value for that's $945. Realizing insurance isn't going to cover this for you, we're doing all of that for $197. I want to make this a no-brainer, simple. Hey, we're going to figure this out, give you options, and see where we go from there. Okay, does that seem a little more fair? Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing. For you guys spending your beautiful Tuesday afternoon with us, that's where we're going. So how do you take advantage of that? Does that make sense? So both visits for $197 and the gifts for the treatment and the recipes all included with that. Any questions on that?
All that on that page.
All that, yes ma'am. Okay. So here's how you take advantage of that. Aaron is going to be at the desk. I'll be up here to answer any questions you have. If it's like one-on-one personal stuff. Otherwise, Aaron's got appointment times for first available. I'm not sure how many we have left. We got a decent group here. We're going to get you as much as we can, but you'll pick that appointment time. So we'll collect the $197 to hold your spot, get you all the information you need, and we'll get rolling from there and help figure out what can get you better. Okay? Pretty straightforward and simple.
Is that $197 if you sign up tonight?
Yeah, that'll be tonight. If you need, your schedule, you gotta look at your schedule, whatever, and figure that out. You can call us back in 48 hours. We're here to help you, right? You're like, hey, I was at the workshop. You were a part of that. I'm going to support you in that.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can't obviously answer or give you first availables. That's for those that you want to move forward tonight on that one. Mm-hmm. You get first available. And if you need to call back in a couple of days, we'll do what we can for that. Make sense?
Can all these getting the charged up battery out there this week?
Oh yeah. What was the other? How about the other week, Doc? I can't name names because of HIPAA. She had the clean diet. She was doing all the exercise, but wasn't losing weight. And she got a laser and started using that and dropped 8 pounds in a week. Her body had everything it needed except for the physics layer, and then it just jumped in and dropped 8 pounds. Does everybody do that? No, but we see that kind of thing happen. Yeah, when your thyroid starts to ramp up and you get more energy, you start burning fat easier.
Yeah, that's a very common side effect that we see.
Yeah, very common side
Losing
effect.
weight.
Oh yeah,
You're like, I've never worked less to lose weight.
it's true.
Do people actually, are they actually able to go off their medication?
Depends. I will say that some people that are on for low thyroid, right, and we start to regulate the thyroid again, now they're over medicated and they have to work with their primary to get that changed again. So yeah, we do need to watch that, and that does happen. We see people lower their medications. Some get off of it depending on how long they've been on it. If you've used it for 40 years, your brain might be like, yeah, that's kind of a crutch now. So it depends on the person.
When you have like a
Every-
chronic
Every
Hashimoto's,
3 months, he does blood work,
Yeah, right.
and it'll stay one place for a while, and then it's together
Flip flops.
place later.
Yeah.
Gotta change the medicine.
Yeah, so chronic Hashimoto's, we'll talk about that like one-on-one. Anybody else have that same question? I want to like, because we're going to go long today.
Okay.
Yeah, if you need to go, feel free. I'll answer like specific health questions. But otherwise, yeah, feel free to go where you need to be. Yeah, Hashimoto's as far as like the medication for a hyper, is that what you're talking about, or the cold?
well, I was diagnosed with it in my 20s,
I see.
and I've always been on Thyroid,
Yeah,
the levothyroxine.
yeah,
But people are taking that for hypo, and I've been taking it for Hashimoto's.
right. So to be fair, in Hashimoto's, your immune system is punching your thyroid gland, and it's just it's not the problem, right? Your immune system is overactive, and remember the battery charge. Yeah, so the thyroid just getting caught in the crossfire, and your immune system is the bigger challenge. Like, what's driving that? And so the Thyroid just keeps your hormone levels normalized, but it's not actually fixing anything. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, you really need to go after what's driving the inflammation that's causing your immune system to beat up your thyroid gland. That's what Hashimoto's is.
Okay, so I have Hashimoto's
Mhm.
and Graves' disease.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm.
So you got it
beat up all
coming and
over the
going.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Again, conceptually, it's the same problem.
Uh-huh.
Physics.
Yeah.
Right. We know your battery just from the history. You're down in the 40-60% range.
Mhm.
We need to charge that battery, girl.
Mhm.
Yeah. Makes sense? And we need to calm the inflammation down, fix the stress, and then start healing with technology. Okay?
Thyroid also causes problems with hair growth.
Oh yeah.
I have not had to shave in 30 years.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Do I want to just go through this or not?
Yeah.
My eyebrows and my eyelashes have gone
Gone.
less.
Gone.
And now my hair is disappearing.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, not enough energy. Do you need hair to survive? No, you can't be in healing and crisis at the same time. So that's unfortunately one of those indicators that your thyroid battery is drained, right? And above, brain and liver, all those different areas working right now. Okay? Yeah.
One of my daughters, she's had a pituitary tumor removed twice. And her thyroid
Hey,
is
thanks
way
for
out of
being
whack.
here.
Thank you.
Yeah, certainly.
Thyroid's way out of whack.
Yeah, right.
Tried to get pregnant and was
Yep.
not getting there.
Yeah.
So she has a degree in endocrinologist at Hopkins.
Mhm.
Working with her after.
Sure.
It's been,
Yeah.
2015. So it's almost been 10 years since the second surgery.
Yeah.
But is there any relief for her? I mean, we got the weight gain.
Yeah, again,
I call it the cortisol
yeah,
phase.
phase, moon phase, yeah.
So you said about 48 hours because I think I needed to.
Yeah. Yeah, just let Aaron know.
Got it.
Yeah, we'll get you taken care of.
Yes, I need it.
Beautiful. Hey, man.
Definitely. Thank you.
Depends. Yeah, it depends. We'll chat.
Okay.
We'll chat.
Thank
Yeah, I know you
Yeah.
can't fix all that, but I mean,
You know what?
getting things running
But that's the
correctly.
beautiful thing. I don't need to. You saw when you drew the shoulder. The body can heal miraculous things when you give it the energy it needs to heal. When you remove the blockage, look out. And
Are you gonna have
energy.
another seminar in the future?
We typically do these every couple of weeks,
Every couple
depending on
Oh,
you know that.
See if she can help me.
Yeah, that maybe she give you the demo.
I
Just
think
don't
she's
tell me
probably
she-
had it since she was born.
Yeah, and again, that can be part of the puzzle, right? But question is, same thing. how drained is the battery, what's going to charge it up, and what's interfering with that drain.
And does Hashimoto's leave your system when you have your thyroid removed? One doctor told me yes, another one said, well, you can still have
So,
that intermittent, it'll
Again,
attack something else.
remember the battery system? When the battery is too low, that's when autoimmune can develop. So if you charge the battery up high enough, what is possible? Your body can take care of that, right? And that's happening all the time across the country with this kind of technology.
Mine was cancer, so.
Yeah, again, so battery is where?
It was,
Super low,
I
right?
was very young when it started.
Yeah.
Very young.
Yeah. Thankfully,
I was
they've
about
got some
35,
tools to support you.
35,
Like,
yeah.
I just want to applaud you for being so brave and tenacious because you gotten this far.
Well, sometimes my husband goes, well, I just don't understand why you just can't get out and do something.
Yeah.
Now I go home and tell him, because you have 35%, I have
Exactly.
2.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great understanding and awareness. Mhm.
All
right. Other questions? Was that helpful? Okay. Awesome. I did my job. You guys saw a miracle with Sherry.
I've heard some of these things before. And
Do you have an office in Mountville?
I did.
wow.
But you don't
That
anymore.
would have
I
been
was
nice.
there 15 years and then moved up this way.
Okay. Because I saw that and I thought, oh, Mountville would be so much easier to get
Yeah,
to.
'cause she lives in Hell. She lives in Hell.
Again, so yeah, I get it. I have patients that come from all over the place, but if we can support you with technology at home, you don't need to be here. That's the
Right.
beautiful part. Like, I hope you're seeing that as like, then you're not dependent on us. You got the tools to empower yourself to heal. And we just guide you along the way.
We have these MagnaWave systems that, are you familiar with those?
Yeah.
We use them on horses.
Yep.
And, but they're like 25 grand.
These are more than that for the people ones. Yeah. But,
I mean, you can use them on people.
right, absolutely.
But, I mean, that's, who can afford that?
Well, again, it depends on, right? There's various elements to that. The great news is there are more affordable options. They're out there, for one. And two, you're going, affordability, is that where we're going to start? We don't start with $25,000 machines. Like that's not realistic for a lot of people.
But your affordability, you use it up and you still don't gain nothing.
Use it and go, gain nothing.
Like, they've done everything to help me, and I've put out money, and I've gone places, I've done things, and I'm still where I am. Sometimes I feel worse.
Well, let me ask you this. Has anybody worked with physics with you?
Most of mine have only been the last 10 years with cancer.
Yeah.
With all their therapy and all the other treatments that they've given me, all kinds of meds. I finally just dropped on the net and said, screw it.
So, I don't blame you. That's going to be really frustrating. I'm not promising we can help you. I don't know that yet. But what I do know is no one has ever touched the physical layer for you. They've worked on physiology and chemistry. Did they do anything to charge your batteries back up?
To just the things for the lymphedema treatments. And try to get all that for them, because I had 3 centimeters of cancer in my lymph nodes
Yeah.
and 2.5 in my breast.
Wow.
So I had over 5 centimeters of cancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I said, I'm giving up early.
I don't blame you. And yet you're here.
Well, yeah.
So
Someone told me to do it, but
What would it mean necessary to show up here on a gorgeous Tuesday? If you're giving up, just go enjoy the sunshine. You're not giving up.
because I was hoping that there was something else yet.
And did you see some hope in Sherry then? Good.
This initial cost is very good because I've been following another lady out in Texas. I mean, hers is like $800 to do all that testing.
Yeah. And
sometimes she'll.
they're not even doing all this testing. I would almost guarantee they're not going there to the VR. But yeah, it's not inexpensive in that sense. But hopefully you're seeing we want to give way more value to you, and you're seeing that in our workshop, giving you the tools for stress relief. giving Sharon complimentary treatment, like, we're giving you hope. That's priceless.
Never had an endocrinologist ever lay a hand on me or suggest any of this.
Right?
Yeah, and
I've seen an endocrinologist for a couple of years.
How broken is that system?
And that was one of the reasons I told them I was not coming back. I said, you have never touched me,
Wow.
much less suggest
Yeah.
there's another alternative.
see, that's what they told me with my thyroid, it's because my weight, so I have to lose weight in order to get my thyroid back in things. So now we're trying with getting my insurance to cover the liability, they said no, so we're trying to do Zepbound because of sleep apnea. Now they said no, so it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure like medication to lose weight is the
And
healthiest.
again, those systems, well, they can help with some weight loss. They shut down your GI system. They actually turn off your brain. They make your thyroid hormones worse. Why? Are they charging the batteries? They're forcing chemistry that has other side effects. Yeah. With that, I'm gonna go. Okay? Yeah. So, if Aaron Swamp can come grab us, we'll help you. But otherwise, let's figure this out. What do you got to lose? You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Yeah, certainly. Sherry, will you give us a ring in a day or two and let us know how your energy's doing? I'm always curious to know how that works out.
It would take me a while to get enough together to come back.
That's okay. We're, I'm in a rush on that, but just give me a ring and let us know.
My husband passed away in August,
Oh.
and I lost my Social Security at the same time they took his. Oh, right, they took mine. They only back paid $10,000. And now with all the other issues going on,
Yeah.
who knows when I'll get it. Yeah, it takes me long.
I'm sorry going through that.
And he passed away in August. And I've been like this ever since. Sitting in my chair all day. I'm gonna horse this.
Yeah, anytime.
finally,
TSH?
yeah, because I just had a whole thing of blood work that's done because,
Depends if they're renal.
yes, see the,
Okay.
because of my thyroid. So which one would I look under? Under this, all of these done.
Probably that one. That's just TSH.
If you're watching at home and you want to get in contact with us, 717-285-0001. You can text us Thyroid to 717-285-0001, and we'll be in touch with you soon. Hope you learned something valuable. Have a great night.